Thank you.
So our next bill will be Representative Lippert's bill dealing with solar energy siting. Representative Lippert, welcome, and please present your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, we've been talking regularly in committee about our state's climate goals, how we get there. We will need more renewable energy as we seek to meet these goals, and we'll need more solar. Our climate goals will drive this, and the economics, the affordability of solar will drive this too. This bill deals with solar and prime farmland. The prime farmland exclusion rule was created in the 1980s to address larger environmental impacts connected to coal and nuclear power plant construction. It's now being applied to solar, but solar isn't what the rule was designed to address. Rather than doing what a rule should do, solving conflict and creating clarity, it's doing the opposite. This rule is creating conflict and confusion in what should be a win-win situation. Solar development is good for rural communities. The tax payments allow local municipalities to invest more. Farmers are interested in lease payments to help them diversify their income streams. Development creates jobs, and there's ongoing operations and maintenance wages for workers. And with a vegetation plan, the vegetation under the solar panels protects the soil, actually improving it during the lifetime of the lease. This bill then directs the Public Utilities Commission to amend this rule to allow the siting of solar on prime farmland if it meets the following conditions. It's placed on a sensitive groundwater area, which improves water quality. There's a Bowser agreement for vegetation, forage, and pollinator plan, or there's a plan for continued agricultural uses like grazing or harvesting forage. At this time, I can turn it over to my testifiers.
Thank you, Representative Lippert. I believe our first testifier on the list is Mr. Adam Sekulski. Welcome to the committee, Mr. Sekulski.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, members. My name is Adam Sekulski. I cover regulatory and legislative issues for EDF Renewables. We are a large wind, solar, and storage developer, owner, and operator with about 30 years of experience across the United States. We've developed about 16 gigawatts, 16,000 megawatts of renewables nationally, own and operate about 11 gigawatts at this time, and have done about 1,200 megawatts of wind in Minnesota with a number of smaller scale commercial solar projects that we've built out for a variety of customers here. First of all, EDF wants to thank Representative Lippert for working on this important issue. Utility scale solar is really growing quickly in Minnesota. Landowners are excited about being involved in solar projects and are enthusiastic about leasing land for our projects. Utilities are asking for bids. Energy consumers, ranging from residential people like on my block, all the way up to large commercial and industrial firms, are asking more and more for carbon-free solar energy. They like the fixed price, they like affordability, and they like that solar is clean. We're at a point in Minnesota where we need to address solar development on prime farmlands, like Representative Lippert said, in order for our state to meet our utility demands, as well as our state goals to significantly reduce carbon emissions in our state. EDF strongly supports Representative Lippert's bill. We look forward to working with stakeholders to ensure that this bill both enhances solar development and preserves and maintains our important environmental values we hold on agricultural lands. I think I don't need to go back through what Representative Lippert already said, but the bill provides the guidance we think that the Utilities Commission needs to revise this 40-year-old prime farmland rule, a rule that was really never envisioned solar energy at the utility scale being developed, but was really focused, as I looked at the record last night, on large central station coal-fired power plants and the needs and requirements that they had at the time and how the state wanted to manage those needs. Clearly, we've gone beyond those types of facilities and are looking at an entirely different type of development with utility scale solar. As I wrap up, I want to encourage you to think, legislators, about solar in the same way you might think about conservation reserve program and other types of agricultural land conservation programs. Just like CRP, solar farms lease land from willing landowners, often farmers. Those farmer landowners want solar to be developed. That land will support solar, but also have a lot of locally appropriate vegetation planted to enhance local soil quality, local water quality, and wildlife habitat. With a solar facility, the solar gets the same or greater benefit that a CRP easement would have, along with the strongly demanded carbon-free electricity product that people want, as well as new local tax revenues. All of this is privately funded, not government funded. At the end of the solar project's life, you've got land that can be returned without damage to the landowner to continue row cropping, grazing, or whatever other use that the private property owner wants to employ. EDF Renewables encourages your support of this bill. We look forward to working with the author and other interested parties to ensure this bill accommodates solar and improves Minnesota agriculture and our environment. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Sekulski. Next, we will be hearing from Peter Muse. Welcome back to the committee, Mr. Muse.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity here. My name's Peter Mavis. I'm the Western Regional Policy Manager for Clean Grid Alliance. CGA is a nonprofit organization based in St. Paul. We represent the large utility scale wind and solar developers such as EDF, which Mr. Sekulski works with. We work across a 9-state footprint across the upper Midwest. In addition to state policy and regulatory work, we actively engage with MISO on a variety of issues, including transmission planning, cost allocation, and grid interconnection. I think Mr. Sekulski covered the issue pretty well. I appreciate Representative Lippert and Chairman Long for bringing this issue forward. I would just add that this rule that we have in place is very unique to Minnesota, and no other states have something similar to this. When we're thinking about developing solar and we're developing it on prime farmland, this land issue is an important subject that we need to talk about. When we're thinking about utilities and the MISO queue and how much solar is coming down, I think it's important that we make a determination whether the state of Minnesota is comfortable with moving forward with developing solar on prime farmland. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mavis. Next, we will hear from David Schaefer. Welcome back to the committee, Mr. Schaefer.
Thank you for having me. Chair Long and members of the committee, I'm David Schaefer, Executive Director of the Minnesota Solar Energy Industries Association. We'd want to thank everyone for considering this bill here today, and we specifically would like to thank Representative Lippert for bringing the bill forward. This bill's language and the need of it stems from a PUC rule that precludes utility scale solar on prime farmland unless the developer can prove there are no available non-prime land sites where the solar could be developed. This regulatory burden is overly onerous on developers. Non-prime farmland may exist anywhere near the developer site. It may not be adjacent to available transmission lines or really be anywhere near where the developer had previously secured the land. Furthermore, in general, we believe that this rule is not necessary given current energy needs. To get our arms around the size and scope of this issue, if all the solar we are expecting to need as a state were to be located on prime farmland, then somewhere between 0.02% and 0.04% of the prime farmland would be temporarily taken out of use. The current PUC rule also mischaracterizes the impact of solar on the land. Most solar installations are on leased land. They are done using minimally invasive piling techniques, like think of it like a deeper fence post, for instance. And more common is the use of pollinator habitat or other nitrogen fixing native ground cover as a cost-effective way to reduce maintenance costs like mowing. New trends are evolving as well. Pairing solar with sheep grazing or honey production is a growing industry that marries traditional agricultural uses with energy production. Solar installations are designed to be temporary in nature, beneficial to the farmland while they are present, and they're increasingly tied to agriculture directly. This bill finds a middle ground between the PUC's current farmland exclusion rule and the evolving marketplace of solar plus agriculture. Mencia supports the basic premise of preserving prime farmland as much as we can, but solar should never be viewed as a burden on farmland. But this is especially true when developers can illustrate that their projects will be beneficial to the farmland or protects local sensitive groundwater areas. Our industry supports the opening of unavailable land like closed landfills or CRP land and to create incentives to move solar development towards rooftop or buffer lands. We support using non-prime farm land when possible. But the reality is that some solar is going to be needed to be sited on prime farmland if our state's going to meet the proposed carbon-free legislation goals or utility goals as they've been proposed. And frankly, just to even meet the current plans that the utilities have. For example, in their most recent integrated resource plan, Xcel Energy is projecting a need for 3 gigawatts of solar by 2030. That's approximately 30,000 acres of solar. Some of that solar is going to need to be on farmland. And this outdated PUC rule will pose a burden to many of those utility scale projects as they seek approval. This bill recognizes that to meet the energy needs of Minnesota and the rapidly growing renewable energy market, some farmland will need to be used for solar. And it also recognizes that solar is not antithetical to farmland or agriculture. Solar can and will be part of Minnesota's agricultural mix, and this bill allows that to happen with a reasoned approach. So with that in mind, I'd like to thank you all again for hearing our testimony and thank Representative Lippert for bringing this bill forward. I'm happy to answer any questions that any of you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. We did have one individual sign up for public testimony. Mr. Ralph Kaler, if you could present your testimony now.
Thank you. I'm Ralph Kaler from St. Charles, Minnesota. I think with a rule like this, it's important to hear from the people who are affected. I'm a century-owned family farmer. We just converted our farm to our son and his family, so we have generations 5 and 6 on our family farm. Additional benefit is we're also the owners of a solar developing company. My oldest son is our CEO. We've developed over 200 megawatts of solar, and we're a Minnesota-based company. I think it's important that you hear from farmers and a rural resident on this issue. Solar is not taking prime ag land out of production. Rather, we're creating a new crop. It's electricity. I think that's an important key. For the most part, the crops that will be replaced by electricity are corn and soybeans. There's some interesting facts behind this. If you look, Minnesota exports about 50% of our corn and soybean production. We cannot use it all in the state. And contrast that with all of the electricity produced off of this Minnesota ground would basically be used within Minnesota or within the close surrounding area. The change in this bill is going to be good for our farmers and our rural economies. We replace imported fossil fuel. Our profit on an acre of corn and soybeans ranges from losing $50 an acre to making $300 an acre in a good year. It's volatile. For those that have ground that's available for solar, you're looking at $800 per year with a 20 to 35-year contract. It provides consistent income. It will allow farmers to stay on the land by putting part of their land into solar. That income is good for our rural economies. It's where we have available land, and there's less competition for land and fewer people. It's a way for our rural economies to gain some of the advantages of solar that tend to be a metro benefit. We can bring our economies together. I did provide a land, it's called Minnesota Farmland and Solar by the Numbers, put together by the search team and Fritz Ebinger. It's a great program that outlines the land use and facts, and the available land are powerful tools. We have 25 million acres of farmland in Minnesota. 17 million acres are in production. We lose about 100,000 acres of farmland per year to urban sprawl. We have 1 million acres of farmland in Minnesota in CRP and conservation, paying farmers not to produce on them. If we get to our goal of 10% solar energy by 2030, that will take approximately 10 gigawatts. That is only 100,000 acres of farmland. It will not impact availability of food, of fuel, or the farming economy. The rest of our farm economy will continue on as usual. So in recapping the benefits of changing this rule, solar will reduce the urban-rural divide. It provides some additional income for our rural communities. Our rural senators and representatives should be promoting this advantage extensively. Solar will rest the land for 20 to 35 years like a conservation program at no cost to the public. Rather, the farmer gets paid to do that. And when the solar field ends, that land is immediately available to go to traditional use. Again, it's a good deal for farmers, landowners in rural Minnesota, and urban residents. It can help bring us together. As one old farmer told me a long time ago, he said, you know, I'm all for progress. It's just change that I don't like. I think as we think about that, that may be part of what we're dealing with this. It's good for landowners, rural economy, and the public in general. It's 100% Minnesota used, 100% Minnesota produced. I just don't understand, if you aren't supporting this change, I have to ask, who are you representing? Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions from a farmer or solar developer perspective.
Thank you, Mr. Kaler. We do have two members with hands up. Representative Swedzinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And my question is, I've got a fair amount. This is to the author of the bill. How do you define prime farmland?
Representative Lippert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Representative Swedzinski. There may be others on this call that can define it better than I can. I mean, I think one of the realities is that the way prime farmland is defined, much of Southwest Minnesota, most of it is prime farmland, and so that pretty much precludes solar from being developed in many places in Southwest Minnesota. But there may be others on the call that can define prime farmland, Mr. Chair.
Would others like to speak to this? Mr. Sekulski?
Sure. Chairman Long, Representative Swedzinski, prime farmland is defined in Minnesota based on the soil types that are present. Certain soil types are considered better than others for row crop production. Things like dry soils, soils that are not full of clay, et cetera, are considered prime. Other soil types with less productive characteristics are considered quote unquote non-prime. Without not being an agriculture or an agronomist, I don't want to go too much deeper than that. But those are the definitions, and they're as defined by the state.
Representative Swedzinski.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, there was a group, I think it was Department of Ag and others a few months ago were working on developing this. They were working with ag groups to try to define prime farmland. What was the product of that work?
Representative Lippert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There was a study produced as a product of that work, I believe, and this the language in this legislation reflects the recommendations.
It looks like Mr. Elef has his hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to point out that the rule itself that we're talking about defines prime farmland as a federal definition, not a state definition. And I've read the federal definition. It is highly, highly technical in terms of many characteristics of soils, but it is a federal definition.
Representative Swedzinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Elef. You know, I think this argument, I mean, I will admit I probably don't agree with Representative Lippert that this bill is the right direction. I actually think we should be going the opposite direction and really defining what we deem as not. I mean, believe it or not, I think we have 16 million acres in the state of Minnesota of prime farmland, and we have about 12 million acres of non-prime farmland throughout the state of Minnesota. I think currently we have over 500,000 acres of irrigated land in the state of Minnesota. And one of the testifiers admitted that they're estimating that we could have up to 100,000 acres of land put into solar production. And, you know, of that irrigated farmland, which is not prime because it's by nature sandy, it affects groundwater. Of that 500,000 acres, I think we use about 81 billion gallons of groundwater. Now, it was said that, oh, well, this will help us protect groundwater by planting, a couple of grasses underneath this stuff. If you want to actually save groundwater, Mr. Kaler and Mr. Sekulski should be supporting only putting solar on irrigated land. Because if your goal is to truly protect it, if you could take 1/5 of land out of irrigated, which is necessary for production, and not take up good quality prime farmland, you would actually do something. I had many conversations with your predecessor, Representative Long, Representative Wagenius, and she was probably a woman that I would say is absolutely passionate about protecting groundwater. And even she, I think, was getting the idea that, you could use this as a tool to actually protect groundwater and put it around sandy soils. I know there's a large development going up by Royalton that I think makes a lot of sense, because guess what? That land is sand. When you pump the water out of the ground, it goes right back in. And if you take it out of production, you would actually do something good for the environment. You'd protect the metropolitan water sources. You would do a lot of different things. And this is going in the absolutely wrong direction by saying that we should actually be protecting these things, because I believe that crop production in many ways is a lot like a tube of toothpaste, right? When you get to the end of it and you're trying to get that last little bit out of it, we've got millions of people dying of famine throughout the world. And while they do not necessarily eat field corn, all food is food. And the idea that you're going to take something that would maybe average prime farmland, 250 bushels an acre corn, take it out of production, that corn will have to get grown someplace. That corn's either going to be cut down rainforest down in the Amazon, or it's going to be putting more pressure on the irrigated land, that's sandy soil, that's pumping groundwater out of the ground to irrigate it. So I appreciate the idea of this, but it's, quite frankly, completely the opposite direction that we should be going. I'm guessing, I don't know where the departments stand on this bill, but I mean, I was reading articles in California that environmentalists are getting upset that they're using desert for solar. And I think we owe it to the globe, we owe it to the United States not to be taking out of production the best in the grass. I mean, if I have one complaint in Southwest Minnesota is when people do put CRP in, that they're actually not putting it on hilly fields. They're putting it on the flat stuff. They're putting it on anything. I mean, this does not help get people on the land. This does not help young farmers get into production by taking thousands and thousands and thousands out of good quality land out of production. Sorry.
Looked like Mr. Kaler wanted to chime in.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just thank Representative Swedzinski for those comments and point out that the first addressed in the bill is sensitive groundwater areas as one of the qualifications for siting. But I'll also turn things to Ralph Kaler as well.
Mr. Kaler.
Yes, since I was mentioned on there, I'd say Representative Swedzinski, I think you're using the wrong information for the wrong purpose. Most of my focus is on this, is keeping the flexibility to farmers to produce the crops that they want to produce, to limit government in there to allow us to do what's right for the land, but still allow us the freedom of choice. By having this oversight and limiting where we can put solar, you're limiting an income source for farmers. The places where we can go with solar is limited based upon where the electric lines are in the substation. Using your logic that you had there, it would be like building cities way up in the northern Minnesota where there aren't the jobs and where the access isn't. We will lose in the next 10 years, 10 times the amount of land to urban sprawl that we will to solar. Where we're putting up solar is where there isn't other competition for the ground for the most part. Around the cities for big solar fields, around the metro area, that land is too expensive and the competition for it is too large. As a rural representative, our areas are being decimated by loss of people, loss of jobs, and lack of opportunity.
Thank you, Mr.
As a rural representative, I cannot understand why you wouldn't support having the available opportunity for your constituents.
Looks like Representative Gruenhagen has his hand up.
Oh, yeah, thank you,
sorry,
Mr.
I thought Representative Swazinski was done, but he put his hand back up. Representative Swazinski, and then we'll go to Representative Gruenhagen.
Mr. Chair, and I just think, Representative Kaler, this bill is not a community solar garden bill, which I think that's kind of your work. And I think that's when you talk about kind of you're competing against housing to build community solar. I mean, this is industrial solar. This is hundreds of thousands of acres that will be taken out of production someplace in Minnesota. And I think that's a real conversation we can have, is saying, where is that someplace? Is it in our best ground? Is it in our medium ground? Or is it in our worst ground? And I don't think anyone would argue that if you have a choice, which we do, we have a choice today to set policy to say, where is that going to be? And I'm just saying it ought to be in the least productive, the most energy consuming when it comes to groundwater areas in the state. And I think most people with common sense would agree with that position rather than on the best.
Representative Gruenhagen.
Did you call on me, Mr. Chair?
I sure did.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, some of the concerns were brought up by Representative Swazinski. I was raised on a farm, and I'm in a rural community. And, the idea of taking prime farmland and taking it out of production, I know I've talked to my county commissioners, most of whom are farmers in my 2 counties I represent. They support this current status of not using prime farmland. I understand the income side of it. I've been a big supporter of Section 179, also credits on the bonding issue for building schools for farmers, and we want income. But this is simply a tax subsidy for farmers. And it also, solar doesn't provide base load electricity. And we've seen the disasters in California and Texas on this alternative energy. And we've had testimony with the rare earth elements and the pollution potential from these solar panels. Also, it's unreliable and it's ultimately expensive. So I think it's a poor trade to go from prime farmland to produce food to solar gardens. And again, we don't have the money set aside to clean all these solar gardens up. In fact, we had testimony in the past here in this committee, well, the co-ops will clean them up and spend millions of dollars, but they won't pass those costs on to the ratepayers. Well, if you swallow that one, I got a bridge in London to sell you real cheap. I mean, it's just not reliable. I've stood on the House floor and said, I'll support solar and wind when it provides base load electricity. We don't have the technology, and when it brings down the cost of electricity. And I understand the financial incentive, but I can't support this, even though I'm a rural legislator raised on a farm that wants farmers to do well. So if anybody wants to respond to that, feel free. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I can make a quick response. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Representative Gruenhagen. I'll respond to one part of it and let some others respond to questions about reliability. I think it's important to note that in the same way that it makes sense to put gas stations next to 4-lane highways, it makes sense to put solar, utility scale solar around substations. It doesn't make sense to put gas stations, where they're not connected to any sort of transportation infrastructure. And the same is true with utility scale solar. So with that, we start seeing kind of the focused nature of what this development will be looking like. And I think that's important for this conversation. And I'll let Mr. Sekulski respond as well.
Mr. Sekulski.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that the Chairman Long, Representative Lippert, and others want to make sure I responded on the Representative Gruenhagen's comment that there's no money to clean up or decommission a solar facility. In Minnesota, if you build a wind plant or a solar plant, the Public Utilities Commission requires the applicant and the company with the permit to set aside decommissioning funds, update those funds, add to them, subtract from them, whatever it may be, every 5 years, as well as update decommissioning plans every 5 years to ensure that there's sufficient money set aside in the event that the person or the company that owns the solar facility goes bankrupt or is somehow not able financially to foot the bill for decommissioning. So those funds are set aside. Currently, the PUC's directive is to ensure that counties are where you are building these facilities are the financial beneficiaries of that financial assurance product. I'm currently negotiating one of those for one of our wind farms. And so there's absolutely sufficient funds set aside in the case that a developer, owner, operator goes out of business and is unable to decommission a project. The other thing I'll just mention is wind and solar, as we've seen at MISO, we've seen our Minnesota utilities have done a fantastic job of maintaining and managing and integrating wind and solar, the variable nature of those, into the electric grid. They've also been able to work with the electric grid and manage those daily diurnal ups and downs of demand and ensuring that's a reliable product for us here in the upper Midwest. We've seen incredible innovation on that front from MISO, from grid operators, from the local utilities that we all sometimes choose to give a hard time. It's a tough job and they've done incredible work in that area. Wind and solar can be a very reliable product along with the other kind of orchestra of other generation that we have and keeping that balanced on a daily basis.
Thank you, Mr. Sekulski. Representative Gruenhagen, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I would just say I met with solar manufacturers a couple of weeks ago on a Zoom call, and I asked them about storage and backup battery storage on these alternatives to maintain baseload electricity. They said at a minimum, it's 5 years away or more, okay? So we're setting ourselves up for a similar situation to California and Texas with rolling blackouts at a time when it's most needed in our state. This is not a good trade-off. Please look at the science and the facts when promoting this rather than huge government subsidized mandates, which sometimes blind people and drive them towards promoting this stuff. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Gruenhagen. I have one quick question, and then we're going to have to move on to the next bill. So I think I just wanted to refocus a little bit on what I understand this bill to do. Our current law on prime farmland is not a prohibition on building on prime farmland. It's a preference for looking at other areas. And my understanding from the testimony that we've heard is that in some counties and areas of the state, there really are no alternatives to prime farmland. So the question is, do you build in southern Minnesota or don't you? And what we're looking to do, what you're looking to do, Representative Lippert, with this bill would also still allow folks to go through the process that we have now, where they could, if they so chose, provide the alternatives analysis to whether they want to build on prime farmland or not. But it would also give some predictability for for developers who are doing things that are win-wins for agriculture, like having pollinator ground, like doing joint grazing, like we've heard from Mr. Schaefer, that if there was a situation where they were doing something that was affirmatively beneficial to the local agricultural economy, that this would be, they would not have to go through this alternatives analysis. Am I getting that right, Representative Lippert?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's correct. You know, we need a rule that's really designed with solar in mind, rather than using a rule that was designed for something else. And this, we believe, can create the sort of clarity that we need and minimize conflict as we go forward. And I'm happy to have some conversation with Representative Swedzinski about irrigated land and its role in this list too. So I think this rule is a good step forward and provide some clarity for us.
Representative Swedzinski, and then we'll move on to the next bill.
Sounds good. Yeah, I would, Mr. Lippert, or Representative Lippert, I'd be glad to work with you. You know, obviously you got a couple ideas in this area. You know, I think if you would just talk about protecting water and having that as a real provision to be able to use it and get rid of the other stuff. I mean, I really believe, you know, your first point is probably good with the water, but the second one, talking about grazing, or, I mean, that's setting an awfully low bar to allow this to move forward. Obviously, we come from a little bit different directions on this, but I'd be more than happy to work with you, Representative.
Representative Lippert, did you have a closing comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, we may not be in agreement on those last two pieces, but I do think, you know, these recommendations are coming out of the report that Department of Ag and Commerce put together. I think it's a good direction for us, and there's certainly more conversations to be had. But we need to find a balance so we can develop solar and do it in a way that makes sense so we can meet our goals, and it's good for rural communities and farmers too.
Thank you, Representative Lippert.